Well, hello. Episode number 48 of Tuesdays at 2. Hard to believe that I've been doing this for 48 days, 48 Tuesdays, but I really love sharing my knowledge with you, and hopefully today you're going to gain a lot of extra knowledge. So, who am I? My name is Martin Buckland, and I'm an executive career management practitioner. I manage and advance the careers of senior executives. I'm a global expert in managing and advancing the careers of executive master of business administration. And I'm also considered a global expert in the mining profession. So I manage the careers of mining professionals, all level from top to bottom. So the topic today is very interesting, and I get this question a lot. Well, it's a thing that confuses people. Who manages your career? So what I want you to do is please feel free to comment on and ask some questions as we go through this. So who manages your career? There is only one answer to this. It's you. Nobody else manages your career. You are in charge of your career. No one else except you. Your employer, they like to think they're in charge of your career, but when times get tough, or they decide to take a different tangent, they go over to the left, they go over to the right, go into new service, new product offerings, or whatever. Who is the first ones to go? You, because you are the most expensive asset they have on their books. We've gone through some tough times just in the last few 16, 17 months since the advent of COVID. Many millions across the world have been laid off. Many millions, when they celebrated their holidays in 2019, never, ever, ever thought that in 2020 they were going to be in career transition. I hear that all the time, but they didn't manage their careers. And this is a serious error. You need to take charge of your career. You are a CEO, a Chief Executive Officer of your career. So manage your career from today onwards. Hopefully, you'll get a few tips and tricks on how to do that, because so many people, they're just left stranded when the termination comes or a change in direction for the company and they don't like their job anymore. And so many people are unhappy in their job. There's no reason why you have to be unhappy. Even in today's tough times, and we are coming out of those tough times, I'm seeing very robust hiring in the niches I specialize in across the world, not just here in Canada, but everywhere in the world. I'm seeing there are jobs waiting for you, but you have to go and find them. So manage your career like a business. You are the CEO of your company. Own it, take it. Make sure you, from today onwards, if you don't right now, you now manage your career from this minute, right now, onwards. You can be terminated anytime. And people are left stranded. They haven't managed their careers. They don't know what to do. They're absolutely helpless. And of course, the emotions that go with being terminated, with being laid off. Well, why me? Well, it's not always you, it's the company changing direction or going through tough times. But if you managed your career, you will be in a far better person to pick up the pieces and move on quite swiftly. So here are some tips. Take control of your career right now. There is very, very limited loyalty today. You are not loyal to your company. When I first started writing resumes, doing some coaching 26 years ago, yes, more people were loyal to their company. In my father's generation, and I reflect back on that quite a bit, he was loyal to his company from the day he started to the day he retired. But that's no longer the case. People are terminated very, very frequently. In fact, the average tenure of a job at the executive level is only about 4 to 5 years maximum. And I, as a career coach, would encourage you to move on if you are not forced to move on by a termination. So manage your career. What is so special about you? Everybody watching this today, this Tuesdays at 2, has a unique promise of value. You have a differentiator. You are special. But do you know what's special about you? Do you know what stands you out from the competition? Why should I, if I was in a hiring position, choose you over Mary, Mark, or Paul? What is your differentiator? What is your brand value? What is your value add? Give me a compelling reason why I should choose you. And you should nurture and build on that competitive edge as you go through your careers. Change jobs, go through careers, and learn about yourself. Good career management is knowing oneself. Who are you, not just externally, but internally too? What is the value you could bring next employer, whether it be XYZ company or whether it be ABC company? So understand your value. What is your differentiator? Another way to call it, is your personal brand. What is your personal brand? You all know corporate brands. We've heard of, IBM and the big airlines that fly globally. You have your own domestic corporate brands, but you also have your brand. That's your unique promise of value, your differentiator. So if you know yourself internally and externally, you will be far better prepared if the writing on the wall comes and you are terminated all of a sudden. Because a lot of terminations come, they're not pre warned or anything. You don't get, oh, you're going to be terminated, Mr. Buckland, in June. Sometimes it just that axe comes down and people are like freaking out. They don't know what to do. So don't be in that position. Never put yourself in that position. Take charge. Manage your career right now, right this minute, from today onwards. So my philosophy is, and it's tough for people to swallow, and they say, oh my gosh, I can't do that, is the day you land your job is the day to start your next job search. Yeah, it's true. You should be on a job search 24/7, 365. Some people are only in their jobs for a few weeks, a few months. Other people are more lucky they're in their jobs for a few years, but you never know that your job is dated, time dated. There's a way out. By the way, here's an extra tip. When you sign a contract to go into a company, to be employed by that company, get it reviewed by an employment lawyer. It doesn't matter where you are. I mean, the employment laws change all over the world. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. But as I say, you manage your career. So you want to go and get written in that contract your exit for when you go out. So you will be far more prepared, far more ready for that exit, both financially and to a certain degree emotionally, because you will have a little bit of a comfort zone, that you've got a little bit of more of a cushion because you took care of yourself, of your career when you entered that particular position. So always be on a job search. Come on, let's have some questions. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Doesn't necessarily have to be on today's topic. I'm more than happy to answer any questions on your career. So always be on a job search. It's a consistent thing. Those people are on job search, land and manage their careers, take charge of their careers, can land a lot faster at the other end when they are go through career transition or unemployment. So always be in charge of your career. So here's some tips. You need to network. Network while you're gainfully employed, not just when you're in career transition. You don't have to do it as aggressively, as overtly as you would when you are in career transition. But I would suggest while you're gainfully employed, spend a couple of hours, 3 hours a week, managing your career and connecting with people who can bring you influence as you go up the ladder or as you move careers laterally within your own industry. Manage your career. This is very important. One thing, if you go away with this today in the mindset, is just manage your career. Always be on a job search and network. Just because we are, depends where you are in the world, countries are now opening up thanks to COVID now, dying or succeeding. Where I am, we're not in that yet right now, but we're in a lockdown. There's no excuse for not networking. You can network while you're gainfully employed, and then ramp it up when you are in career transition. Because I'm going to bet, as a career coach, as an executive coach, and numerous other coaching certifications, helping people with their job search strategy, I know that your next job is going to come through your contacts, who you know, who can introduce you to Mr. Smith at that particular company. They may have a job advert, and then you can get in the back door. Or you want to go and work for that company for some particular reason. You like their products, you like their services, they may be going IPO, and you should listen to some of my videos on my YouTube channel. There is a wealth of information on my YouTube channels. So there's no excuse for you not to network while gainfully employed. You can use all those virtual tools, Zoom, Teams, WebEx. There's a whole long list of them. They are coming out with new ones all the time, thanks to COVID. If any industries blossomed in this recession, it's been the virtual communications, and they've enhanced their applications. So make sure you know those applications. Build. If you are at the senior executive level or on the way up, you need to build, and this is the key, build and retain relationships with executive recruiters. Executive recruiters, doesn't matter whether you're an EMBA, Executive Master of Business Administration, somebody without an EMBA, maybe an MBA or some other master's degree, and you're on the up or in the mining sector, all of those I specialize in. You need to network and you need to retain that relationship with an executive recruiter. Never, ever lose communication with an executive recruiter. So part of good career management is keeping up the dialogue with an executive recruiter while you're gainfully employed. Because if they have a job that meets your skill sets while you're gainfully employed, and also when you're in career transition, who's going to come to mind first? It's going to be you, because you kept up that communication, that dialogue with that executive recruiter. Yes, they can be tough to get into the door, but once you're in the door, maintain those relationships. Be active on social media. Now, I've said in previous Tuesdays at 2, those who aren't active on social media and those who aren't on LinkedIn, in my professional opinion, are committing career suicide. You need to be on LinkedIn all the time. So I see people suddenly disappear off LinkedIn. You know, they've been posting, they've been sharing, whatever, and then suddenly they disappear. And then 2 or 3 or 4, even 5 years later, they suddenly start posting. I can see their name appearing as it goes through my feed. So what do? I pick up the phone and I say, oh, well, hi, Joe. How are you? It's Martin Buckland. executive coach, do you remember me? Or whatever. And they say yes. And I say, you've just been terminated. You've just been laid off. And they say, how do you know? That's puzzling to them because I haven't seen you, Joe, for 5, 3, or 4 years on LinkedIn. You don't have to be as active, as proactive on social media when you're gainfully employed, but you should always be on social media. So, there again, coming back to it, it's you are managing your career for when the weather gets tough, when you go up and down like a yo-yo and you're going through that career transition, because it's not a good thing to go through career transition. But if you manage your career, you reduce that career transition time dramatically. So be active on social media. And here we go again. You hear me mention this all the time, and I will answer some of those questions. I see there's some really good questions coming in. You need to keep your resume, your CV up to date. Don't have a 6-year-old or a 3-year-old or even a 2-year-old resume. You need to continually update that resume or your CV, and they are changing in content and format all the time. Let's just go and look at some of the, excuse me, I have to put my glasses on so I can look at some of the questions. In the US, employment is at will. What kind of safeguards are you suggesting to have an employment contract? That's a great question. And I believe in the US, each state is different. They have different employment laws. So you need to make yourself familiar with your state, where you reside, where you work, their employment laws, and you also need to perhaps befriend an employment lawyer and see what the what the severance is. I know in the US it's very, very low. Severance doesn't matter where you are in the US compared to other jurisdictions in the world. Here in Canada, it's like perfect. It's for the employee, not for the employer. But in the US, it's for the employer. So you get very little. I've been horrified in how little people get after being severed. So but you also should get your exit when you go in written in your contract. So be prepared. It's like the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. You never know. Life is full of surprises, as I said earlier on. Those people in 2019 who were celebrating their holidays in December, little did they realize swiftly after December, January, February, that millions across the world would be laid off because of COVID. Little did we know that COVID was going to have such an issue in the globe, in the economy, in employment, everything else in society. So you need to protect yourself. Look after number one. Jose, can ask to waive your 3-month probation to ask for 1 year, especially when you're in learning curve or a sales funnel. You can. You can. When you go in, you can get. If they really want you, you're in a controlling position. So you can sort of you can bend the employment contract somewhat, but it's not overarching. You can't take it this way or 90 degrees the other way. You can maybe just wiggle. There's always a little bit of room for wiggling. Okay, so Anand. Hi, Anand. How are you? We chatted this morning. Thank you for your insight. Any tips on networking during these strange times? Yeah, well, you can't do it in person, so you need to do it online. I was telling somebody yesterday, had this occurred 10 or 15 years ago when the internet was very fragile and there was no Zoom, limited. There may be WebEx, but it was very fragile again. How would we have coped? How would corporations have coped? Just working from home. So so I would really network. So you must have, and we're going to have a conversation this week, I think. You must have some companies you want to go and work for. You like their brand, you like their product, you like their service offering. They may be going IPO. Some companies now, as the economy strengthens and broadens, they may be going IPO, and you might like to take advantage of that because sometimes there's a lot of money in going IPO. So I would network. So I would and there are videos on my YouTube channel, and those who go to my YouTube channel, please press the subscribe button because I want to expand that, and I want the people to learn from my YouTube channel, just like they're learning from hopefully today. So networking online is the way of the world right now. Hopefully, we will be able to come back very shortly to actually shaking hands. I can't remember. I was in Dubai the last time I was in the networking event last February, and I actually shaking people's hands. So online networking slightly challenging, face-to-face opportunities massively restricted due to COVID. Yeah, so there's not many other opportunities. You need to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a perfect tool. I can teach you how to use LinkedIn to the optimum. There's a lot to LinkedIn that people don't really know about how to use LinkedIn to the optimum. So, yeah, don't just make COVID an excuse for opting out of networking. That's not what it's all about. So coming back to great questions here, keep them coming. So who manages your career? Make sure you have your resume, your CV up to date, and your LinkedIn profile. I see so many LinkedIn profiles. They're one or two positions out. Well, if I was a recruiter who uses LinkedIn to source talent, and I see that you're an ABC company and you've moved on twice since then, what is that going to tell me? That's going to tell me, well, this guy is not managing their career. The advent of videos. Now, you don't have to have a professional. I'm just using my laptop here and StreamYard, or you can use all sorts of different platforms. You can go on Facebook Live, or you can just record a video and then put it on a YouTube channel. You can have a YouTube channel for free. I've got a couple of clients now who are building their YouTube channel, and I put that YouTube channel address on their resume. They're talking about innovation, some of their stories, some of their successes in those videos. The advent of videos is here. They're far more powerful. You can almost touch somebody, you can feel them, you can see them. So think about being extraordinary and creating some good videos. Videos are the way of the world. So think about videos, creating videos. You don't have to spend huge money on all the equipment I've got in here. You just have to spend a little bit amount of money, or you can hold your cell phone up and you can talk. Powerful. You can put that to LinkedIn. You can put it to Twitter. You can put it to Facebook, and there your audience is vastly expanded. So attend trade show events. Once we get back to in person, hopefully there's going to be actual physical trade show events. But right now there are trade show events done virtually. And if you feel you are an expert, and you should feel you're an expert or an authority, ask to speak at some of those trade shows or industry related conventions. So you are marketing yourself while you're gainfully employed. So you are preparing, sadly, we shouldn't have to think this way, but sadly, you are preparing for when the day comes when you are in career transition, i.e., unemployed. So anybody got any questions? Premium and Sales Navigators, great. Yeah. So that's great, Jersey. So make an investment in yourself. Premium is not on LinkedIn is not a huge dollar value or pound value or euro value. It's a small investment, but it entitles you to have more bells and whistles that will allow you to use that platform a lot more, have more in-mails, be able to connect, and also for people to be able to see you more. So two things, and I do say this quite a bit in my Tuesdays at 2, two things that are going to elevate your LinkedIn profile. Make sure you have a picture on your LinkedIn. Make sure it's a professional picture. Once you've got a professional picture on there, Google and its algorithms, and it's going across your LinkedIn profile as we speak, will give you a 1400% uplift, 1400% uplift, just for having your picture on there. But have a professional picture. Then you need to go and customize your LinkedIn URL. If you've got numbers and letters after your name, you haven't customized your LinkedIn URL. You need to go and do that. It takes you 2 minutes. And then once you've done that, Google will give you another freebie. It will give you another 400% uplift. So for two things, it takes you 2 minutes to put your picture on, 2 minutes to upgrade your or customize your LinkedIn URL. You get an 1800% uplift in Google visits to your LinkedIn profile for free, heaven forbid. So you need to consider that. So yeah, and then Sales Navigator. So it's a very intricate tool that there are some YouTube videos on those. Sales Navigator can also bring you lots of value. Anybody got any other questions to do with career management, not just who manages your career? Hopefully everyone here, and when it's replayed, will get a lot of value from what I've shared with you today. I'm more than happy to give anybody, any viewer, a free, no obligation, no sales pitch, resume, or a CV critique. I will give you 30 minutes of my time, but I go through it from top to bottom. And I say it as it is, because you only get just one kick of the can, not two. You get one kick of the can. One mistake with the advent of this ATS, this applicant tracking system, can count you out of the perfect opportunity where you have all the skill sets. One mistake, one content mistake, or whatever, one format mistake. So I'm more than happy to give you a free, no obligation resume critique and a free LinkedIn audit. And I go through that from top to bottom too. So we can collaborate together, select a time, and I will give you 30 minutes at least to go through. So anybody got any other questions? Thank you, Jose. So I love sharing my knowledge. I have a lot of knowledge, and this is my 48th Tuesdays at 2, and I'm going to be doing some other LinkedIn Lives plus two podcasts. So we'll be going live very, very shortly, weekly podcasts. So I'll wrap it up. Hopefully, you've got ingrained in your mind now that you need to manage your career. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, but you need to manage your career because the rewards can be substantial at the other end, not just financially, but emotionally, because being laid off, being terminated, being canned, or whatever you want to call it, is very, very emotional. It's very high on the stress scale. And you want to lessen that by being prepared. Managing your career, you are far more prepared emotionally. So please, those of you who are listening to both live and in the replay, go to my YouTube channel, Martin Buckland, and please subscribe and press that bell button where you will be notified of future videos. There's a lot more to come. I think there's close to 100 videos on career management generally there. So who's got some more questions? Are there any particular industries that you see more active? Masur, yes. So that's a great question. And I was just talking with a couple of executive recruiters, one in London and one in Dubai and one here in Canada today. So there is an uplift generally across the board in all functions, all industries. But the functions that are really hot right now, well, sales, because put yourself in the people's positions. During a recession, we always need salespeople because companies need to survive. So sales, doesn't matter what type of sales, digital and business transformation, change management, continuous improvement, and things like that, they are hot right now because there's a company is going through a lot of pain. And then supply chain. So supply chain has been really stretched. I've had some clients, senior supply chain people at the VP, SVP level, go from being terminated or whatever, or decide of their own volition that they wanted to execute a job, to going to a new job in 5 or 6 weeks, which is almost unheard of. So those are the big ones. Finance and HR, who are normally in a recessionary times the ones to go because they're non-revenue generating, non-operational. They have weathered the storm pretty damn good this time. So there hasn't been the mass terminations, layoffs, or whatever of finance or HR. Don't get me wrong, there have been many, but they're not nearly en masse as they were in the previous 2 recessions I worked through. So it's picking up across the board, and I see as we emerge, hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, from COVID across the world, that hiring will get back pretty damn quick to where we were in 2019, because it was hot. It was very robust at all levels in all sectors. In fact, here in Canada, we were finding it difficult to find talent because we have a skill shortage, and that will come back very, very quickly. So hopefully, as everybody's got some good tips here today. I will be back next week. It'll be episode number 49. And what am I going to talk about? How to rapidly build a network from scratch. Now, there's processes and practices and ethics as well that go into building a network from scratch. You can't just go to 300 or 400 just like that. You should have done that while you're gainfully employed, slowly, robustly, sensibly. So I will tell you next week, give you some tips and tricks on how to rapidly build your network. Because as I entered this is Tuesdays at 2, I said the first thing you need to do is network. You need to build that network. So thanks for listening. Hopefully you all got something from this today. I love coming back here every Tuesday at 2, episode number 49 next week. So look forward to you attending this. Have a great week. And I'm always here for anybody. You can shoot me a message on LinkedIn, or you can email me. I'll put my email in the box here. Anybody can email me or send me their resume. And I'll be happy to help you, or happy to have a conversation, no obligation, because I like to share my considerable knowledge. I'm here for you. Have a great week wherever you are in the world. I know I've got people from Europe here, maybe somebody from South America. So thanks for listening today. I'll see you next week for episode number 49 of Tuesdays at 2. Have a great week.